Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 most influential British musicians.
These artists are known for their groundbreaking songs, standout style, and everlasting impact. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 most influential British musicians.
Great. Okay, I'm predicting number 1 will be the Beatles, number 2 will be Led Zeppelin, and number 3 will be Rolling Stones. I think David Bowie's on this list somewhere because I saw him on the thumbnail. Let's see what they say.
For this list, we'll be looking at British musicians who significantly shaped not only music, but general society and culture. Number 10, The Clash.
The Clash.
Emerging from the first wave of the London punk scene in 1976, The Clash helped define the early punk genre. Confrontational tracks such as White Riot and London Calling shook the status quo and demanded to be played. Mixing reggae, ska and funk, the band's style evolved with each LP. Styling himself as a punk rock warlord, Joe Strummer and his bandmates paved the way for countless others, both in Britain and around the world.
I've heard of them before, and I know that song Rock the Casbah, that was all over the radio.
Number 9, Kate Bush. Breaking onto the scene in 1978 at only 19 years old, Kate Bush liberated British music for female singers. She was the first British female artist to top the UK album charts, and singers such as Florence Welch and Bjork have since claimed that Bush is an inspiration for their own music. Writing and producing her own material, she took risks to create playful but emotive songs that freed female creativity. Who else could have turned Emily Bronte's gothic romance into a weird and wonderful #1 hit? She is one of a kind.
Yeah, I gotta say, Kate Bush passed me by. I've never really encountered her much. I think she recently got big from the show Stranger Things. They used one of her songs in there, Running Up That Hill. I think it gave a new life to that song. But I never really got into her. But she sounds pretty brilliant. It sounds like her style is very widespread. It does seem like kind of like Bjork in that way. I guess she was an influence on Bjork. I could totally see that. She's like an English Bjork. Who's next? Morrissey.
Number 8,
The Smiths.
Although they were only together for 5 years, the Smiths certainly made an impact, with records which tapped into teenage angst like no other, offering an alternative sound to the mainstream pop of the 80s. Frontman Morrissey carved out a successful solo career after the breakup of the band, but it's his work with the Smiths that still supplies a soundtrack for generations. The Killers and Belle and Sebastian are some of the many bands that owe these guys a pint or two for their pioneering indie rock.
Yeah, I forgot Morrissey was in the Smiths. And I can hear just in these samples how his singing voice influenced a lot of people in the 80s. I feel like a lot of the British New Wave singers in the 80s had that kind of tone to it. I didn't realize Morrissey kind of started that. Very influential, I guess.
Number 7, Oasis.
Okay.
The global reach of this Manchester band surprised many, but not themselves, and their rise to the top was unprecedented. By 1996, Oasis were breaking records, playing in front of 250,000 fans across 2 nights at Nebworth. Their media battle with fellow Britpop outfit Blur made evening news, while the often fraught relationship between the Gallagher brothers added another dynamic. The band split in 2009, but constant hype for a potential reunion has kept songs like Wonderwall, Slide Away and Don't Look Back in Anger on our speakers. These tracks will surely live forever.
Yeah, they were big in America. I remember when, What's the Story, Morning Glory came out. They were all over MTV. They were huge, very influential. And they had some really good songs.
Number 6, Pink Floyd. Best known for their massively successful seminal rock album, The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd continually subverted genres throughout their time at the forefront of British music. Selling over 45 million copies, the band's 8th and most famous album would stay in the US charts for an incredible 14 years. Floyd's progressive, psychedelic, experimental sound and legendary live shows rightfully earned them a spot in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996.
Yeah, I should have known they were going to be on this list. They're one of my favorites. I think I've said this before in another video, but Dark Side of the Moon makes me feel such a range of emotions, from happiness, sadness, joy, fear, and everything in between. An amazing album. One of my best friends in high school's favorite band at the time was Pink Floyd. Hey, John Kyle.
Number 5, Queen.
Of course.
Icons of British rock, Queen have sold up to 300 million records worldwide. and with the likes of Kurt Cobain citing them as one of his earliest influences and Lady Gaga basing her stage name on a Queen hit, the band boasts a lasting and wide-reaching impact. Bohemian Rhapsody was number 1 in the UK singles charts for 9 weeks, the band became a definitive stadium rock act, and the We Will Rock You musical proved a massive global success.
Hang on, what's the We Are... Did he say We Are the Champions musical? What? Oh, We Will Rock You jukebox musical. Was this... Oh, okay, this is recent. I thought maybe it came out back when they put that song out. But it didn't. It's recent. Okay, got it. Yeah, Queen. Oh my god, Freddie Mercury. Probably the greatest rock singer, at least skill-wise. I recently did a video about him, and they mentioned that when he sings, he uses some of the same muscles that Tibetan monks use to do that chanting. Like, I can't do it, but amazing talent, amazing talent. And the other guys in the band too. Some people don't realize that some of those high notes in the harmonies are being sung by the drummer. He could sing really high. And Brian May's guitar playing, that guitar tone was like no one else, like violins. So beautiful. And I have a lot of respect for the bass player too. Some amazing bass lines, beautiful bass lines. He wrote Another One Bites the Dust. Anyway, who's next? Black
Number
Sabbath.
4, Black Sabbath.
Okay. Yeah, I should have known. I forgot they were British. Ozzy Osbourne's from Birmingham, right?
Birmingham's own Black Sabbath were heavy metal pioneers when they set up shop in 1968. Led by Ozzy Osbourne's distinguished and distorted vocals, the group created their own unique sound, establishing a brand of hardcore rock which spurred on the likes of Metallica, Motorhead and Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Selling in excess of 14 million records and playing to sell-out crowds well into the 21st century, Black Sabbath are still setting the gold standard in metal.
Okay, so Black Sabbath is number 4. Yeah, as far as influence, that does make sense because they were like the first metal band. I mean, I don't know if that's totally true, but in my mind they were. I think it's pretty cool how Tony Iommi, the guitar player, he's missing a finger. And so he would play power chords because he only had 3 fingers. I think was it his pinky or I think he was missing his pinky. It may have been this finger. I don't remember. But he played those power chords because that's all he could really play. And it sort of created a genre. Yeah, Black Sabbath. I totally forgot about them. They're very influential. They were so heavy too. Singing about the devil and stuff. Like really, really dark stuff for the time, especially. Even now it's dark. Rolling Stones. So they're number 3.
The Rolling Stones.
I guess that one. All right.
Consistently labelled as one of the world's greatest rock and roll bands, the Rolling Stones shook up the 60s like no one else. The group's rough rock sound saw them stand out amongst the peace and love, giving a voice to a generation of young rebels. With the band's iconic logo printed on every type of merchandise, and with Mick Jagger remaining a prominent and recognisable figure across the world, it's clear that the Stones' influence isn't likely to let up anytime soon.
Okay, of course, yeah, Rolling Stones. I think I predicted they would be number 3. I remember hearing of the Rolling Stones when I was a little kid and I didn't get it. I thought it was a little goofy, a little like boring and goofy, I guess. But then there was a TV show that used the song Painted Black as the theme song. I think it was about Vietnam. And that was the first song by the Rolling Stones that I heard, and I thought, whoa, what is that? I think it also got programmed into my mind because I would watch the show and, you hear it every week and you end up liking it because it's familiar. Anyway, yeah, very influential band. I predicted number 2 would be Led Zeppelin and number 1 would be the Beatles. So let's see who they have as number 2. David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Okay, hang on. Did that guy pronounce it David Bowie?
Number 2, David Bowie.
He did.
Constantly reinventing himself and his music and producing hits until his death in 2016, David Bowie inspired generations of fans. Proving that it's okay to be yourself, his original style and fresh approach to sexual identity paved the way for a broad spectrum of artists, from Boy George to Marilyn Manson, creating Ziggy Stardust and other personas, while also branching out into film and TV. He's remembered as a cultural icon, an instigator of change, and a standout performer.
Okay, interesting. I predicted number 2 would be Led Zeppelin, but it's David Bowie. As far as influence goes, I mean, nothing against David Bowie. He should be on this list, but Oasis is on this list and Led Zeppelin's not? I have to disagree. I'm gonna file a formal complaint to UK to Watch Mojo UK. I'm going to hire some Russian hackers to spread the rumor that Watch Mojo UK are a bunch of p***s, and then maybe Led Zeppelin will get the respect they deserve. Led Zeppelin was a precursor to Black Sabbath, right? Rolling Stones. Okay, Rolling Stones could be in front of Led Zeppelin, I guess, as far as influence goes. Black Sabbath, well, Black Sabbath created a whole heavy metal. Well, but Led Zeppelin, there would be no Black Sabbath without any Led Zeppelin, right? It was before them. Queen. Oof. Would Led Zeppelin be in front of Queen? I think so. Would they be in front of Pink Floyd? Definitely in front of Oasis. Definitely in front of the Smiths. Sorry, Kate Bush, but Led Zeppelin's more influential. And The Clash? I mean, yeah, Led Zeppelin. Where's Led Zeppelin? That hurts. Led Zeppelin. Maybe they're not on the list because they themselves were so influenced by the blues that maybe they were considered not like influential because they were taking in such strong influence from the blues and just sort of representing it as like rock blues. Maybe that's why they're not on the list. Led Zeppelin, y'all. They should be on here, right? Okay. Okay. I hope the Beatles are number one. Oh, fun fact, by the way, that David Bowie song, Let's Dance, guess who played guitar on it? Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan from Austin, Texas. Beatles better be number one, or I'm throwing my laptop out the window.
Number
Okay.
1, The Beatles.
Okay.
John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Fab Four and probably the most influential band of all time. Redefining pop music in the 60s, these lads from Liverpool caught global imagination as they spearheaded youth culture. From their famously fashionable look to their historic live shows, Beatlemania was an international obsession. Competing with the likes of The Who and The Kinks, the Beatles rode the wave until their breakup in 1970, and their popularity hasn't waned. In 2000, a greatest hits compilation became the fastest selling album ever, more than 30 years after the band's original success.
Nice.
Do you agree with our picks? Check
No.
out these other great clips from Watch Mojo UK.
Okay, the Beatles were number one. I can sleep tonight. If they put Led Zeppelin at number one and not had the Beatles on this list, I don't know what I would do. Do you guys agree with this top 10? Just the absence of Led Zeppelin and the inclusion of Oasis makes me say no. Nothing against Oasis, but they're no Led Zeppelin. What's the drummer's name from Oasis? I have no idea. What's the drummer's name from Led Zeppelin? John Bonham. What's the bass player's name from Oasis? I have no idea. What's the bass player's name from Led Zeppelin? John Paul Jones. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin. If anyone here, if any of you watching works for Watch Mojo, I was just kidding about reporting you as a pedophile. Anyway, really interesting list. I agree with most of it. I've made my thoughts clear. I will be calling my attorney. Anyway, thank you all for watching this with me. Happy New Year to you all, and I'll see you next time. Later.